Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all had a good lunch, and this session right after lunch will definitely keep us awake. The track 2, which we are having here, is on risk horizons, and it will cover auditing governance failures, lessons from Indian corporate and scandals. Presenter today is Mr. S.Ramakrishnan, Vice Chairman and Partner, PKF Sridhar Santhanam LLP. Mr. Ramakrishnan is the co-founder, partner, PKF Sridhar Santhanam LLP in India. He started his experience with an 18 months journey as a junior consultant in SAM Consultants in the years 77-78. Mr. Ramakrishnan has handled various consulting and operational audits with over 48 years experience in CA practice. He is experienced in large audits, consulting assignments in various companies on various industries for large business groups, companies in India and abroad. He has covered over 6 continents, right from Argentina to Australia, and he's presented a number of papers in various seminars. He was also a faculty member in the ICA Chennai, teaching students in costing and OR. He's written a number of articles in the ICA magazine, and he's also a member of the Audit and Assurance Standards Boards of ICAI. He is a member of the Inspection Committee and the IA Committee of the PKF International Network of Firms, the Inspector of Quality of other PKF firms in Asia, Asia Pacific, Africa, Middle East, and Europe. He has done over 29 global reviews in 19 countries. Presenting Mr. Ramakrishnan to present on governance failures, lessons from Indian corporate and scandals. We will have this session for an hour. Mr. Ramakrishnan will speak to us for 45 minutes, and we will open up the session for question and answers. Presenting Mr. Ramakrishnan.
Good afternoon. I think it's World Cup T20 time, so we need to start with that. Think of governance like the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026. Will somebody push this? Yes. The management is the batting side, always chasing big targets, closer to the timeline of year-end. The board is the commentator, analyzing every shot, and also shooting questions at us. And internal audit, we are the third umpire, quietly checking the replay before anyone celebrates a 6, which happens quite often, as you know. Now, I thought I'll start with my experience because this topic, when it came, I had to talk to Deepika and ask her, what is this? Because I have not been here for 2-3 decades now. So I said, is it a very popular topic? I mean, auditing governance. I said, governance failures, but first you should be able to audit governance. Then you come to governance failures. So the very first question I had was, Ramki, you started in 1973 with articles. So that means I'm here for 53 years. And I've been, my first job was 15th December 76. So that means 50 years. And we started with internal audit. Very surprisingly, I don't know whether you will appreciate this. My first internal audit was for the C-suite by Mr. S.Ramakrishnan, the doyen in your field. The first audit was whether it should be the key raw material, whether it should be denatured spirit or rectified spirit. People would have wondered, what is an auditor doing here? Because Mr. Murali Prasad, as soon as I entered his office on 15th December 26, gave me the book Lawrence B. Sawyer, Modern Internal Auditing. He's supposed to be the father of internal auditing. I think it is into 5th edition now, it's still there. And then he gave me a book called Operational Auditing by Lindbergh and Cohen, and gave me a template, plastic template. He said, if you come to me for any area without a flow chart, I'll throw you out. So this is how my internal audit started, very, very differently. And I said, okay, 48 years of practice, and the very first few years, we survived, grew only because of internal audit. There was a godsend like Mavakaro, 1975. So Mavakaro said, comment on internal audit. So a lot of people started asking, what is this internal audit animal? So we were there. We said, okay, we will do internal audit for you. Of course, for a pittance of a fee, that's a different matter. But it started as well in our journey. And I said, okay, how many times have I audited governance? Then after a lot of searching, I came to one group which said, the promoter called me and said, Ramki, you guys write report after the event. I don't want you to do that. I want you to tell me then and there. That was a shock to me again. He said, come and join my board. You'll be there, not as a member, not as a director. But I want you to be in every board, and as soon as something is presented, I want you to tell me, is there anything I should know? If necessary, come to me after the meeting and tell me confidentially. And then I saw, very recently, on 24th of February 2026, nothing could have been more apt. So beautiful, excellent LinkedIn post by Naveen Pasricha. He says, if internal audit confines itself to preparing for the board or AC meeting, it operates within the event. You are told what to do. He says, if it examines how issues are surfaced, filtered, and escalated before the meeting, it begins to strengthen the governance architecture itself, and with it, the committee's capacity to engage at the highest right level. Beautiful words. I think he wrote it for me only. I was looking for something to say. I said, I'll start the whole presentation with this and end the presentation with this. If there is an enlightened management which can do this, I think that is where the internal audit will really gain. Okay. Then I had one promoter, most of you will know. This promoter had unlisted companies, but he had a group corporate board. You know the type of people who are there, Hindustan Unilever, Glaxo, Tata Chemicals, these were the people who were there, the top guys from there. Was that internal audit, the audit committee required? No, per law not required. This man introduced it, Mr. N. Shankar of Sanmar, Group Corporate Board. It is not a legal requirement. Before anybody thought of that, he had a group corporate board. And he gave me one real diktat. Ramki, whatever you want to say, you say it openly. How many boards will tell that to auditors? So I had some great experience with people, and thank God we also worked with some of the greatest groups in this country. So I don't know much of what happens on the other side except through reading about all this. Now, there are, if you see slightly lower down, there are companies which want the auditor to be present throughout the meeting. I immediately remember it is ESAB, one of the ESAB people is here. ESAB used to say that you be throughout the internal audit meeting. If you see all other places, many places, you go there, meeting is at 10 o'clock, 12:45, they will call you and say, Ramki, we had an extended statutory audit meeting. Can you do this in 10 minutes, please? I wanted to do it in 15, then I have to compress it to 10. So let's talk about reality first, instead of just, floating in the clouds. So let's talk reality. This is the reality of what is happening. And then I said, okay, if this is the reality, what can you do within this reality? That is how I took the whole thing. Okay. Now, we had 4 surveys. We will not take all these surveys, because if we take this, then my 45 minutes will go in these 4 surveys and their analysis only. So if time permits, we'll come back to that. But this is a very important question, so we will take only that. You are an internal auditor, I think all of you are here. Do you have access to board committee and minutes, board minutes, NRC audit committee, all the minutes, are you having access to these as internal auditors? Show me the hand, whoever is saying yes. Wow. Congratulations to the people who did that. And limited, relevant to internal audit, we go and present. That, at least they should give us. We have told them, this is what is there. And they should tell us, okay, this is what we decided and this is what you will do further. Okay. No, I don't know to count that. No is everybody else. Okay. Right. So I said, I called one of my internal audit friends, who was chief internal auditor, and I said, just send a survey in your WhatsApp to all your friends. 13 CAEs of India, all top guys. Yes is one. Our good friends here. Meet me separately, tell me which company it is. I would love to work for them. Okay. Limited, relevant to internal audit is 7. That's not bad. And no is 5. What the hell are you going to do in governance auditing it? You don't even have access to board meetings. So I am telling you of an enlightened company which called, the promoter called me and said, be there, tell me something. Actually, you can raise your voice and say, no, no, this is not acceptable. Absolutely enlightened company. And that company called me for the global strategy meet of all the group companies to present there. You know the topic? How do 100-year-old companies survive? What a beautiful topic. Because I think the average Fortune 500 is how 14, 13, something like that. They're dead and gone, buried, merged, whatever. Okay. Few things, what I feel it could mean. Looking at compliance is not negotiable. Okay, very basic. Second thing is, direct, I also said indirect. I'm being very careful. Indirect indication of red flags, early warning signals using available data. Whatever has been made available to you. Now this is all reference to corporate scandals because my subject is on corporate scandals. Confidential information to the audit committee, which is what we do standard. Certain things can be very, 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 sacrosanct. So you tell the audit committee chairman, you tell the secretary, these are the things. We have done that. Now blow the whistle. Become a Sharon Watkin or something like that. That means either you lose your job or you are the Hall of Fame. Who has got the Hall of Fame for Sharon Watkins? AICPA. Okay. So blow the whistle, and I said the last one is, when you blow the whistle, you may have to keep the resignation letter in your pocket. And because you are biting the hand that feeds you. That happens to all of us, auditors, statutory auditors also. So you have to bite. Actually, when I said this and I discussed with my partner, sir, immediately they will say, you are part of the board. How independent are you? Independent is in your mind. I told them, you may all remember, SEBI said that if there are audit qualifications, you have to go to CA Institute and find out whether company is right or auditor is right. It had a very small existence. I think it was there for 3-4 months. I think I'm the only company to face that. So my report was qualified. It went to CA Institute. Institute sided with me. SEBI directed the company to restate the accounts. There was a law like that. Can you believe it? In India. And obviously it cannot work. So it was removed. I think I'm the only company, and then it was removed. And we restated the results in Ind AS. Okay. Now, let's see this, whether you will be able to give me the answer for this. This is a fraud. Before and after. Every fraud there is a before and after. Golden Globe Award before. After that, 5,000 crores gone. Right? We all know that. I don't have to tell you which company. So, I have already given the cat out of the bag. Board had many stars. Founder, CEO, chairman was very well known. He had a jet set lifestyle. Audit was by a big four. Successful large equity issue. Growth is continuous. I've always wondered. I wrote in LinkedIn recently. If all the projections we presented to the banks had come true, we would be more than United States of America and China put together. Right? Have you ever seen a cyclical industry, for instance, a plantation, a shipping? Have you ever seen 1 year go down? If it's a history of shipping, it has never been like this. It is always like this. But our Excel sheet says what? Company won many awards, chairman always in news, standard fixture in celebrity pages of fawning media and investment community before Epstein. Stock of a company is shining at the exchange. This is after the disaster. Initial manipulation of accounts not found out. So once you do 5 crores, it's not found out, what do you do next? 10 crore. Next year is 50 crores. So he got the feeling of invulnerability. Manipulation of accounts for many years. Manipulated subordinates as well as, monitors. Failed totally. Huge loss to stakeholders. Which company is this? Wrong. Wrong. Okay. Let's go to there. This is why I put it. See, I have a very favorite saying. The people saying, India frauds are going up. That's bloody nonsense. Per capita, world, we are the lowest. Every company. I do LinkedIn posts every alternate day on fraud. Because when they gave me a topic on fraud, I said, okay, I'll come. I don't talk on any other topic now, except motivation and all that. Because fraud is a lot of stories. I love it. So, I've written somewhere, for instance, number of years which took for the fraud to come. I've given a big list. And I also said on the side, Germany, United States, Japan, no country is free of this. Okay, we are not talking about Pakistan and all that. Okay? So the company is Livent. The CEO is Garth Drabinsky. Country is Canada. So, moral of the story is, this is many countries. Fraud is not India. Fraud is universal. And names change, of course. Okay, now at last we go to lessons. If I don't go there, they will say, why did I call you? Okay. The first lesson is, if something looks too good to be true, you know what it is, right? Look at this DHFL fraud. 2017-18 growth is asset under management of 33%. Against management target of 20%. That should raise a question. Management says, year before, I will grow by 20%, and then they grow by 33%. No, they are not in AA. Right? Then loan book is 27.5%, PBT is 25%, and look at this lovely thing. Gross NPA is 0.96%. Don't you love this company? So what are the red flags? There are many. You have this very high growth, very low NPA, high exposure to developer and loans against property. Areas are weak, growth is terrible, and then you have perfect bookkeeping. So what can we do? See, we wanted to say, okay, as internal audit, within our boundaries, what can we do? Oh, I must always say that it's never in India. I love to say that. Enron. The sales growth in 1 year was more than all other competitors put together, and more than the turnover of many Fortune 500 companies. 1 year growth was more. Unless there is a fasto cooking the books, not possible. So this is the one question which even a common man will ask, a short seller will ask. How come our company is showing such a huge increase in business and other financial indicators compared to others in the industry? And they'll give you some technical name for it. So don't fall for that. Okay? Next. You know oak trees. 150 feet they can grow. There are some seeds which are slow in growth, some seeds which are fast in growth. You put them directly under the sun, they'll go very fast. Those seeds which are slow and steady and grow, they have phenomenal strength. Dense wood, resilient, long-lived, resistant to wind, and pests also. You take those other seeds which grow very fast, everything opposite applies to them. So this is true of everything. Nature is, 300 million years plus. So what it cannot teach you doesn't exist. So always remember the nature. Okay, next. This is another problem we have. Nick Leeson was making humongous profits and he gets double promotions and all that. You go to somebody in a board meeting and say, this division is incurred a loss. What will happen? You'll be pounded. You'll be killed, stripped. But supposing you say, last time we had this much profit, 100 crores, in 6 months we made another 50 crores. So all the boards will say, can we have a party? Right? ILFS. Complex structures are there for a purpose. You know what the purpose is. AAA ratings even a few months before collapse. Yes Bank. This poor RBI has been flagging. Divergence between NPA, actual, according to them and the books. We are supposed to now give it in the financial statements of banks. You're supposed to say this is a divergence. Look at that. 2019, it was a whopping 3,200 crore plus is only divergence. So don't say that there were no indications. USB, derivatives. Warren Buffett called them financial weapons of mass destruction. Of course, he went and invested in it later. Societe Generale, Nick Leeson of Singapore, Bernie Madoff, consistent high growth year after year after year after year. And he was heading NASDAQ itself. So the questions, if you have made $1 billion, can you also lose $2 billion? That's the only question to ask. What makes it give you so much? What are the controls over runaway profits and losses, especially in exotic things? Now, which is the exotic thing of today's, I call it flavor of the day. Supposing you start a company today and you don't have 2 words there, you are a waste of time. A and I. Right? If you supposing start anything, like it was in .com. Rock stars. Every one of these fellows who did fraud were all rock stars. Look at that fellow, how much profit he is making. What are you doing? Right? Okay. The next question is this. Complex. Do you really understand them? Actually, honestly, I just looked at the first brand's fraud. I'm going to write about it. There's so much in it about receivables factoring, payables factoring, borrowings off balance sheet. After reading for about 3 hours, my head was reeling. So immediately called my guys. He says, what is this factoring and how is it done? How is it done in India? Can this be happening in India? Then I got some yarn on what is coming in India and all that stuff. So, lot of times you are given acronyms. I hate acronyms. In Harshad Mehta's case with bankers' receipts, lot of people ask, what were the auditors doing? My question is, go to guidance note of audit of banks and tell me if there is a word called bankers' receipts there. Pre-bankers' receipt. After Harshad Mehta, promptly it was included. LOU, PNB scam. You go to bank audit guidance note of CA Institute. There is no LOU there. Nobody knew about it. Let me frankly admit, if I was doing PNB audit, I would not have found out. This is a big problem with me. In fact, there was a public meeting after Satyam. I went and told openly, I would not have found Satyam because I have looked at those confirmations. There is no way you will not rely on them. HDFC chairman knows that the logo of HDFC comes on the left side. Anybody knows? I don't know that. I sent confirmation to bank. Do they give me confirmation? At least in my days. But let me tell you this. 1977, when I did an audit along with PricewaterhouseCoopers, they took the confirmation to their office and posted it. They had the best of systems. But the problem is, we are looking at system. But who has to implement the system? The manager, the partner, right? And if the bank manager, I went and asked the bank manager, I am asking you for a big confirmation. LC hai, deposit hai, what is the loan, all that. Why are you not giving me that? You are giving me some 10 pages. My KRA does not include I should send confirmations. Why would I waste my time? Nobody was sending. So where do you go? You go and ask the CFO. CFO says, sir, directly controlled by chairman. He will give you. Of course, that he was printing, I don't know. Right? These are all the things which practically, if you look at it, there are issues. Abroad. Lehman Brothers is called Repo 105. They always have one acronym with a number also. So it gets more confusing. So that means there should have been a 104 and 106 and 110. Now 1100. And Goldman was Abacus. UBS it was RTF. In financial crisis was CDO. What was CDO? 2008. Collateralized debt obligations. So to confuse you, which is a simple objective, auditor comes and asks, supposing you are doing Enron audit, you go to FASTO. FASTO is supposed to be very good in derivatives and all that. He will ask you 2 questions. What do you know about this? Then what will you tell him? Oh, this fellow knows more than me. So you will come off. So these are terms which are coined to confuse you. What I have learned over 48 years is, if you don't know, admit it. You look like a bloody fool. But please admit it, saying that I have no clue what you're talking about it. And explain to me, like Warren Buffett used to say, you will have to explain it to a person who is in 5th standard. Don't give me complicated jargon again. Right? Olympus, Enron, First Brands. I added First Brands also. I added only day before. Frauds proved you can use middlemen to keep debts off balance sheet. The factoring fellow is doing that. and it's going off the balance sheet, how the hell are you supposed to find it out? It's a problem. So we all have to live with this. So first lesson is, I do not understand. Very, very important thing. Look like an idiot doesn't matter. In fact, you can add 2 more people. Sir, I asked somebody who is working for ICICI Bank also. He also doesn't know. I asked HDFC Bank. He also doesn't know. Will you please explain to me? Then you'll be careful. Oh, he's already done some checking. I do not understand, especially all the latest jargons and fads which come up every day. Unfortunately, I'm reading on AI. I'm updating my partners on a daily basis on what is happening in AI, in frauds and audits. I'm going bonkers. You know how many articles I sent today? 10. Every day there is something. This fellow comes and says Gemini 3 point whatever is better than Grok. And Grok says, forget it. Whatever Perplexity is doing is phenomenal. So if you don't get confused, something is wrong with you. This you can suggest. What can we do, earthlings, common people? Board, do you understand? Of course you are. Supposing I'm in that board, I asked. In fact, that board, I asked one question for which the chairman's wife had called me and said, thank you very much, Ramki. At 3 o'clock, I said, can we have something to eat, please? Chairman said, yeah, that's a good suggestion. He was also hungry, I think. So the next day, the chairman's wife calls me and says, Ramki, I think you should be there in every board meeting because this man doesn't eat at all. So he went and told his wife. This Ramki stopped the board meeting and said, let's have a sandwich to eat. I think sometimes you have to come to earth. You can't always be flying around. Okay. Bring an outside expert. How much are you going to pay? Right? If you are going to lose 1,000 crore, it is better to pay 1 crore for somebody to come and talk to us for a day. There are experts in every field. Risk models have to be checked often. You know what happens. This is the next one. Next one is almost everything is going to be technology now. At least in our days. In fact, when I started doing BSc Maths, there was no calculator. Somebody brought some big mechanical thing. They put it on the table and suddenly the principal called, the professor went, Ramki, you come and take care of this. Nobody to touch it. We will not even look at it. It's a big mechanical thing which you entered something and then did this. And then it gave results. And we were saying, my God, world has changed. Now world is changing every minute. I go now and read something, it says yesterday was wrong. Today there is something else in Claude XXX and 3 more companies are down. I don't know how we are going to do valuation. IBM valuation drops by about 40% in one day. Somebody says COBOL dead. We were all thinking COBOL is very good because old, nobody was listening and some billions of transactions were doing COBOL. So if you learn COBOL, you're always safe. And what happens? All the jobs are gone in one day. Maybe not all the jobs. 1 out of 100 will be there. 99 will go. Okay. So this is from the PCAOB report. 135 control deficiencies identified in integrated audit conducted in accordance with standards of Peekaboo. Information technology report stated, this is PwC's own IT fellows, which say IT systems in Satyam were subject to manipulation, that given these deficiencies, substantial and elaborate examination of financials should be done. So you can't do samples. You do a hell of a lot of checking. This was there. This is ignored. So this happened in Satyam long back. It could be happening today, wherever you are auditing. And something which you will not even come to know. Cookie cutter boiler, but we have no tick the box. For A also we will have a checklist very shortly. Have you done this? Have you done that? Except for getting a clean ICFR SOX report. I wonder how many of these ICFR reports are qualified. Or for that matter, how many 143.12 reports are sent. Nobody gets access to this. I would love to look at them. Is checking being done continuously, controls, even assuming 143.12 reporting is done, whether somebody is acting on it, that's another thing. Checking between continuously see controls in operation relevant? Are steps taken to rectify weaknesses? Very simple questions we all know about. Okay, next. Check the right controls in their own operation. PNB in Nirav Modi case. You say here, linking of all systems to the bank core banking solution was missing. Very, very hard. You had billions of transactions flowing out, and that is not part of the core banking solution. And not only that, you had a lot of banks like Axis, Yes, HDFC, ICA, they had already linked them, obviously, because you were reporting those figures as at least contingent liabilities. And these two words, I'm sure you all know. What is the most dreaded word in internal audit? Reconciliation, right? I always say that there are two things, there will be three reconciliations. And then it is a permutation combination. It increases geometric proportions. Actually, I'm wrong. It goes by logarithmic proportions. Humongous it will be. So, whenever I go ask them, two simple questions. Are you doing SAP? Yes. How many Excel sheets are still used? Very simple question. Shows how much they are using it. And the second is this. How many reconciliations are doing and how many reconciliation arrears? 6 months, 3 months. Non-reconciliation confirmation for allow you with books of accounts. Okay. This I keep so that I don't keep talking. The subject is such we can be talking for the rest of the day. But then I remember that joke when somebody came from the audience. After this fellow was talking, beyond 2 hours, he was supposed to talk for 1 hour. He came with a gun, put it on the podium. And he said, no, I'll stop talking. He said, you go ahead. This is not for you. This is for that bloody fellow who brought you here. So since I don't want Deepika to be shot, where is she? She's silently escaped. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move to certain things which I thought were very important. You know, in our days, we used to do this important. So let's quickly go there and try to wrap it up. How do I move it to the particular place other than doing this nonsense? I loved this. I absolutely loved this. Certain times you have this benefit. This is Lille Electricals. Total import of the commodity by India from Malaysia was 198 crore. Imports booked by the company alone was 376 crore. Don't tell me that we cannot find out. Publicly available information. I don't know how many of you remember, sir will remember. There was a fraud called Great Salad Oil Swindle. Anybody? Simple. This fellow has lot of edible oils. The plant is near a beach. One day, the beach water gets into the tank. Edible oil, sea water, what happens? Throw it out. The managing director was smart. Wow. What if we fill all the tanks with seawater and call it edible oil? Okay? And there are these poor, idiotic internal auditors like me. What do? They come climb that thing. I have climbed Indian Oil Corporation tanks. Head will reel. That is another question. If I take that, that will take 1 hour. Okay, but let's not go there. You climb that, you put dipstick, paste, take it out, and then multiply. The fellow had a small little tank inside the big tank. And what you are seeing was excellent oil. Best oil money can buy. Beautifully tested, multiplied. Right? You go and test all the tanks. Anybody here says, I'll kill you. You don't. You select, right? You call it sample, right? So, my God, that takes me to another story. This is the biggest problem for me. I have to stop this. Right. Okay. Now let's go to the next item. This we can verify. No, it's very simple. Where do you have to resign tomorrow? Let's look at it that way. The most important question to ask. Audit committee held on paper. Today there is a LinkedIn post on Lille Electricals. I think each independent director has been fined some 10 lakhs. Anyway, what is last is crores, doesn't matter. And anyway, company will find a way to pay. No approvals given for related party transactions, simple. What independent directors were told, audit committee are routine affairs. Really they are, but you can't say that to audit. Independent directors, you are telling them. Actual decisions will be taken in board meetings. This is only so that you can get some fees. And there is nothing to worry about, except that all the fellows will come. Have you seen any frauds? You know, it will start like a trickle, and there will be a tsunami. Everybody will come after you. Next door fellow will ask you, enna aachu ippadimbar? Annikku thoonga mudiyadhu. CMT decided what is to be included or excluded in the minutes, obviously, and fabricated the contents of the minutes. Independent directors signed minutes which were provided to them. வீட்டுக்கு ஒரு பியூன் எடுத்துன்னு போவான், கையெழுத்து போட்டு கொடுத்துருவாங்க. இப்போ எங்க when should you resign? They should resign not tomorrow, yesterday. Retrospective effect, resign and get out of the place. Okay, I think we should try and close this now. I'm supposed to be answering some Q&A. So let me see, is there anything else which is very important. Sorry. This I have to give you. Otherwise, I'll be failing in my duty. You will say, what nonsense did you talk? You didn't even talk about it. How can anybody talk without AI? Can I? Do you answer me? Can I do that? I can't. So you have, there is only one red flag for future. AI assisted, AI augmented, AI created, AI defined, AI driven, AI enabled, AI fuel, AI generated, AI helped. And இது மூச்சு விடாம பாடுற மாதிரி. AI innovated, AI inspired, AI planned, AI powered, AI produced, AI supported. This is your future. Whoever is less than 30, this you can raise your hands here. This is your present, future, retirement, everything. For us, very simple. I am 73. I can just say, tomorrow onwards, I am not coming. Of course, my partner is not letting me. That's another matter. Okay. So we go to the, this is something which I loved. This is have, widen, make, reward. This is all you need to learn. Have a Hall of Fame. You want to avoid? No. What is the topic? How do I take care of internal audit of governance, failures, learning? So this is my learning. A Hall of Fame for internal audit. If AICPA can have, I don't know, sir, whether you have a Hall of Fame. Please introduce a Hall of Fame. Put all these fellows there. And there's a lot of fellows who blue vessel. I have a big list. If you want, I'll send it to you. Then widen reporting under 143.12 to internal auditors. Don't tell anyone, I'll shoot you. It's for seminar. So if it is done, it will be very useful to the government. Make whistleblowers report directly to the CAE board. And the last one, reward handsomely the whistleblowers. The only way of catching these fellows is to tell them, even the biggest fellow in the terrorist, this thing is surrendered yesterday. Some 1 crore or something. So I love this. The largest reward for whistleblowing is $279 million. If you promise that, then I'll blow all the bloody whistles. And write a will, of course, one day before blowing the whistle. Right. Okay. This, I told you, I love Naveen Pasricha. I have not met him. I have to close with this. If internal audit confines itself for preparing for the board AC meeting, which all of us are doing, it operates within the event. But you want the title to mind, talk, to come true. How issues are surfaced, filtered, escalated before the meeting It begins to strengthen governance, the architecture itself, and with it the committee's capacity to engage at the right level. A beautiful post. Last one. This is my LinkedIn. I have decided to do 1,000 LinkedIn posts on fraud. I have just completed 456 today. And I intend writing, God willing, touch wood. I only have touch glass. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now the floor is open for questions.
Hello, sir. A pleasure listening to you. My question especially is around the PNB fraud. I've been a banker for 33 years, which is why that point really has been troubling me. So there was a lack of reconciliation between the SWIFT system and the CBS system. So, and this need was never understood or felt by the audit community. Like you rightly said, they only looked
Including
at LOU.
bankers, many bankers.
Including the bankers. Yes, sir. Because the internal audit function has not been able to look at it. So, how do you think that this can become an ongoing, concurrent mechanism? Because now the way internal audit is looked at is how we can contribute on a recurrent, continual basis. How can such, this is just one instance, how can such ongoing mechanisms come up? That's my question, sir. Thank you.
I should confess that I am no expert. So I don't confess that I know the inner workings of banks. Actually, my hands shiver when I go to a bank to do audit because it's such a humongous thing. Just look at the TSB bank's reconciliation differences. Once I look at it, I cannot sleep. I don't understand. Nobody understands. Nobody includes Institute of Chartered Accountants. I proved it to you. If LOU was to be audited, what should the ICAI do? Employ somebody who is an expert, let's say from JP Morgan Chase. Come and tell me how it is done in JP Morgan. And JP Morgan Chase itself was cheated. You all know. By a 22-year-old. Fraud comes out of greed. And greed dates back to Adam and Eve. So it is going to continue. So what can we do? I'll give you only an example which may not be parallel, but somewhere I have to give you a thing. We used to do the audit of Taj group of hotels. So there used to be a fraud. And the one good thing about fraud is like the dark web. If you learn something, what do you do? Array. All of you learn. North Korea, China, Russia, all of you learn. And then go and attack some poor Indian guy who is getting some 50,000 rupees salary. Right? So this fellow will find a way of fraud. Some of you guys have worked in Taj frauds, right? Taj audits. I've got some of my ex-guys, of course, who know more than me now. So the CFO called me once. Anil Goyal was his name. Ramki, yes, you find some fraud. Then you say it's 60 lakhs. 60 lakhs in one hotel. I don't know how many hotels is happening. Front office. Very simple thing. I was really laughing when I looked at this biryani thing. What did they do? Deleted the bill. Finished. Right? Take cash, delete the bill. Very simple thing to do in hotels and restaurants. Alter the bill. Some provisions are made so that the software will be flexible. and they go and see what is flexible. Or accidentally they find out. Somebody comes and says, I have this problem. I have booked this room with X, but actually I come with Y. I mean, I'm not getting into Epstein now. I'm only giving you some examples. So he said, this is too much, because that fellow has already taught two other fellows, and I'm learning that he has already gone to Leela, he is doing there. So what do I do? I said, there is only one way. This is the only answer I know. Continuous auditing. This stupid thing of doing audit once a quarter, once in half year of the history is never going to help you. Not with AI. Because by the time you have found out, it is all in the newspapers. When you go for audit, you will only be doing post-mortem. So we said, at that time it is 85 hotels. You send all the front office details to us. We put a desk in Chennai. I don't know, you guys were there at that time. 85 front office data will come. We'll do data analytics. I'm one of the fellows who started with ACL Windows in 1980s. I was doing Benford's Law in 1980s. So we are a little tech-oriented. We have a guy with cyber, we have a guy with AI, we have, and name it, robotic process automation. And we call all of them. We don't know anything. We say, we want to work on this, you put all these fellows together. You get a better solution. So we said, okay, we will look at this and then say, possibly there is a fraud here. Go and look at that. Tell the night auditor. There's a night audit function in hotels. Sometimes a night auditor is so, he will not find out. So then he gave me a carte blanche. He said, Ramki, you find something is wrong with the hotel, you give me a call and send a team. You don't have to tell anybody else. How many fellows will do that? We did that. 72 hours we could find frauds. 72 hours. There's no way you could go and do it for other people and all that. Continuous audits. Now, all the more important. And I told you how that very enlightened, the owner, said, you come and sit with me. As the decision is taken, okay, the question of independence also is there. You tell me if you feel something is wrong. I may not know anything. So I'll say, I'll go and check with my guy, GST, reconciliation of this or that. So I'll go to my GST expert and say, this is what they say, what is the best solution? Today there is a solution for everything. You don't know which is the best, right? AI, you want anything is available. Only thing is there are 100,000 things. Somebody calls me from Belgium and says, we have the best software. I tell them, do you know what GST is? No, we work on VAT. I tell them, put it down. So it doesn't help. So we are used to a particular way of working. You need to change that. Actually, I was on the panel for selecting the awards for the IAA function, which happened last month or something. I and Nagesh Pinge were there. So there were 5 categories. In innovation, we did not select anyone. There is no innovation happening. Sorry to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, we are not innovating. We have to innovate. We have to innovate very differently. If you want to do it, learning from what we have done in the past is not going to work. Because the future frauds, you can't even imagine the speed with which it will happen. The quantum for which you take only receipts, right? People come and give you sales people give you travel vouchers. If you can create fantabulous vouchers, considering every factor that there is, how are you going to find out? Right? We used a very simple method for that. Travel expenses audit. Go and put all the vehicles and check with Vahan. Okay? Then you know, actually I got a road roller for a taxi. Two-wheeler, road roller. Then we don't catch them. We say, okay, this fellow is doing that. Collect all the fellows who are on the top in that particular grade. Take all of them. Go to their trial expenses. Trial expenses is the index of your honesty. Then, don't go immediately after them. Go and check what are they doing. They are approving credit notes, discounts, whatever. And then go and catch all their credit note analysis. Don't stop with that. That has to be approved by somebody. Correct? Go after him. Normally we send about 20, 30 people out. It's possible. If you think innovatively, differently, learn from nature. 300 million years. We have all not come yesterday, right? We came from single cell to double cell to triples. So much there to learn. I've done a paper on that. How we can learn from nature, biomimicry, and use it in audits and fraud detection. It's painful work. Not that I've done anything great. I've got a couple of ideas, that's it. So I told them that if you want innovation, then you have to think outside the box. Whatever you're going to read, because whatever you have read is become obsolete, right? I take Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, put your question. It will give you whatever you can give 100x. And what the hell are you talking about reading? Your reading is all gone. Your YouTube, which you are listening to, so what was written 3 months back, obsolete. Principles are the same. Basics are the same. But you have to reinvent. You reinvent, you can live in an AI world also. You don't, you are dead. Dead meat. Sorry, I'm a little emotional about it. So I might have gone hammer and tongs with that. So.
Any more questions?
Okay, if there is a little time, would you like to listen to what I consider as the biggest of frauds I've ever come across in my life? Interesting. And you know when it happened? Late 1970s. Can you believe it? I have not come across a smarter fellow than that. Okay. This is how it goes. Do I have time? Okay. This is a spinning mill, and the owner is a little old. So bring his distant relative. This relative is again a big nonsense. If you want to work within the confines, but just outside law, you have to find a nephew or a niece, right? Where is nephew or a niece a relative? Tell me which one law, which standard, right? No. So this fellow really brought him, saying that he's going to really, that fellow's a smart aleck, okay? So he came, he took some of the spinning frames, put a shed, took all the cotton, went there, manufactured it, sold the yarn, and then he returned it with a repair bill. Spinning bill வேலை செய்யல, அது ரிப்பேருக்கு அனுப்புறாராம் அவர். ரிப்பேர் பில் வந்துருச்சு. ரிப்பேர்ல ஒன்றும் இல்லை, அது ஒர்க் பண்ணி அது ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணி விற்று சாப்பிட்டாச்சு. இப்போ நல்ல பேர் வாங்கணும். யார்கிட்ட? ஓனர்கிட்ட. இந்த பேர் எப்படி இருக்கான் பாரு அந்த பையன். வந்தாரா, ரிப்போர்ட் எழுதினார். இன்விசிபிள் ரேஸ்ட் ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தியாக அது குறைக்கணும். இஸ் இட்? எஸ், திஸ் இஸ் ஹவ் ஒன் ஷுட் திங்க். இவர் தான் எடுத்துட்டு வந்துட்டார், எப்படி ஆகும்? இன்விசிபிள் ரேஸ் குறைஞ்சி வச்சு. அப்புறம் என்ன சொன்னார், அது மட்டும் இல்லை, இந்த முன்னால் இருந்தாங்களே அவெல்லாம் நிறைய துட்டு பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. எப்படி சொல்கிற நீ? இந்த ரிப்பேர் பில் வருது இல்லை, போன தரம் ரிப்பேர் பில் பாருங்க, 100 ரூபாய், நான் 50 ரூபாயில் முடிச்சிருக்கேன். ரிப்பேரே இல்லை. இல்லாத ரிப்பேருக்கு பில்லை கொடுத்து, சாரி ஐ எம் டாக்கிங் இன் தமிழ், இஸ் இட் ஆல் ரைட்? Sometimes I am very fluent in Tamil only. I did almost all my education in Tamil, up to my BSc first year. So this was amazing. He was given an award openly, saying that, look at, learn from this guy. So just multiply this with the fellow who is smarter like an AI. Kya hoga? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for this insightful and thought-provoking session. I now request Mr. Padmanabhan to present Mr. Ramakrishnan with a small memento as a token of our appreciation.